of India after independence. Sir, I would like to say that at that time, not a single chemical was being manufactured in India. And at that time, the trading was a major business over here, and slowly and gradually, the technology was transferred and the manufacturing started in India and first company to start manufacture is in Gujarat, and that is Pioneer Magnesium. First company, and immediately after that, the second company, LLB, started manufacturing in Gujarat. First two companies, we should feel proud. First two companies to start manufacturing of chemicals in India, were Gujarati company. So, friends, over the last 7 decades, GCA has provided a platform to the members of the chemical trade industry to share information, work together for the export, import and manufacturing of chemical products, and GCA's main aim to work as a bridge between the chemical industry, stakeholders, government authorities, professionals, organization, association and apex bodies to create an ideal ecosystem for its members to grow in the chemical trade and industry. Various forces of research. Sorry, sir. GCA has organized various events and summits for the further in Gujarat. In the year 2006, GCA has organized the Gujarat Chemical Conference and Gujchem Expo 2006. And theme for this conference was Global Competitiveness, Gujarat Perspective. Conference was inaugurated by none of them, our then Chief Minister and today's Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, and the Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat. The objective of this conference was to provide a right platform for the manufacturers, traders and service providers and exporters to expose their products, explore the new areas for domestic and global markets. GCA also organized Asian Chemical Leaders Summit in 2008 at IIM Ahmedabad, and that summit was organized by the then Honorable Industries Minister Shri Sarabhai Patel, and the main thrust of this summit was Sino-Indian Chemical Trade and Logistic Challenge for a Global Chemical Hub, and to showcase the products, services, capabilities for manufacture from Gujarat. Global Chemical Leaders Summit 2010 with exhibition pre-event program of Vibrant Gujarat 2011 at Nirma University was organized. This exhibition was inaugurated by Shri Sarabhai Patel and the Honorable Industries Minister of Gujarat, and was inaugurated by Mr. Madhavlal, the then Additional Secretary of Development of Commissioner, Ministry of MSME, Government of India. During this one incident I would like to share with you. During the India Camp 2009, when I was sharing the dais with Shri Narendra Modi, the then Chief Minister, and after my speech, Narendra Bhai said, if you are speaking so much loud about the chemical industry's growth and development, why can't you prepare a commemorative volume of Gujarat's chemical industry? Many government agencies were ready to always start this commemorative volume, but he said, Gujarat Chemical Association will make this particular volume. And I'm really happy to announce that exactly in 1 year, we had developed a volume called Golden Saga of Success, Gujarat's chemical industry, and which was inaugurated on his insistence, none other than by our then Honorable Chief Minister, Shri Narendra Modi. In the year 2012 and 2016, GCA organized International Chemical Conclave, a roadmap to global competitiveness at Ahmedabad Management Association here only. The 2012 conference was inaugurated by Dr. A.V.P. Prasad, IAS and Joint Secretary Development of Chemical and Petrochemical, Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers, Government of India, and Dr. K.U. Mistry, the then Chairman, Gujarat Pollution Control Board, and many other noteworthy programs GCA is continuously organizing for the benefit of chemical trade industry. Friends, let me tell you some brief, because a lot of my friends are going to share many information, but this chemical industry in India has broadly grown at 11% CAGR over the last decade. It was valued at $178 billion for the year 2019, and it is expected to grow at 9% per annum and reach around $304 billion by financial year 2025. In September 2020, the production of key chemicals was around 8,36,435 metric ton, and petrochemicals was 17,26,502 metric ton. So the domestic chemicals sector's small and medium enterprise are expected to showcase 18 to 21% revenue growth in financial year 2022. Owing to an improvement in domestic demand, higher realization due to high prices of chemicals, and support from the state government and the central government. So India's proximity to the Middle East, the world's source of petrochemical feedstock, enable it to benefit these economies of the state. The government of India has launched flagship programs such as Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan to provide much needed support to this sector and create a facilitative environment to attract further investment. The Indian chemical sector has a large network. It has a large network, and basically the Indian chemical sector of 200 national laboratories and 1,300 research and development centers, and has a strong potential to drive further innovation. The sector has an opportunity to leverage its human talent pool and attain the dominant things. So Gujarat has 5% of India's population, yet India's production yet contributes 8% of India's GDP and 20% of India's exports. This is phenomenal growth for Gujarat, a hub of chemicals by India, and slowly India is becoming a global base of chemicals. Therefore, Gujarat chemical sector have to contribute. If India has to become a global player, Gujarat has to increase their production, come to the forefront for larger development. The theme here, based upon the future of chemical industries in India and around the world, to help the chemical industry to understand that what are the opportunities available in nationally and globally, and how can we grow further. More about this information will be given by my friend Dr. Sawan Guriawala. And the path of this run to business is not always so smooth. Just ask any entrepreneur. Sometimes it helps to hear some business success stories. When you are deep into the weeds of expand your business, it can be easy to think about the quitting. That is the problem always with the industry. But learning about other success can help lift your spirits. To comfort and inspire us, take a look at Make Money Group. Make Money Group and its success story. Today, we have with us Natubhai Patel, Managing Director of Make Money Group, he will speak, and he is our guest of honor also, who is also immediate past president of GCCI, will speak to us about his success story. We can take away from his story, which may help us in our own business growth and development. R&D is one of the very important propellants of the industry's core. There are members of benefits investing, the number of benefits of investing in R&D that are beyond innovation. The creation of innovative products not only adds new revenue streams but also increases brand visibility as well as opens a new avenues for the collaboration. The government of India offers various tax incentives to encourage investment in R&D. Still, R&D in the chemical sector in India is not up to the bar. Continued R&D efforts in the part of industry helps to improve the quality standards, obtain higher yields, resulting in reduction in production. As per the latest statistics available, Indian chemical industry spends only 2 to 3% of their total turnover on R&D, compared to 9 to 10% by the MNCs in overseas countries. According to Oxford Economics, the chemical sector invested 51 billion US dollar in R&D in 2017, and China was home to the largest chemical R&D spend with an investment of 14.6 billion US dollar, followed by the US and Japan with 12.1 and 6.9 billion dollar investment. India was ranked 7th and with 1.8 US billion dollar investment in R&D in 2017. The industry needs to make a large investment in R&D if they want to compete China, if they want to go ahead with China, and if they want to replace the products being manufactured by China and not being manufactured in India. So, in this direction, we have arranged a panel discussion on the topic of role of R&D and innovation in chemical and allied industry. Eminent personalities like Shri Manish Kiri, Chairman Kerry Industries, Anil Jain, SN Finechem, Professor Joshi, Dean DDU, and Dr. Pancholi, Ganpat University, will speak, interact and discussion. During the panel discussion, we have to catch from what they believe, what they understand, what they visualize. This conference program will explore the theme of future of chemical industries in India, focusing on all aspects from ideas and small-scale setups on the bench of large industrially and commercially relevant processes, products and services. So I guarantee you all that this conference will be productive and worth your precious time. Once again, I welcome you all and thank you very much for the patient hearing.
Thank you, Dr. Vasa. અને હવે સમય છે અતિથિગણના સ્વાગતનો. પુષ્પો અને સ્મૃતિચિહ્નથી સ્વાગત કરીશું. આજના મુખ્ય અતિથિ શ્રી પંકજ જોશી સાહેબનું સ્વાગત કરશે ડોક્ટર જયમીન વસા. આજના અતિથિ વિશેષ શ્રી નટુભાઈ પટેલનું સ્વાગત કરશે ડોક્ટર સાવન ગોળિયાવાલા. આજના આપણા પેનલિસ્ટ શ્રી મનીષ કીરીનું સ્વાગત કરશે श्री मनीष कीरी साहेबનું સ્વાગત કરશે શ્રી રમેશ પટેલ. श्री अनिल जैनનું સ્વાગત કરશે ડોક્ટર જયમીન વસા. જયમીનભાઈએ પોતે DDITમાંથી 1975માં BE કેમિકલ એન્જિનિયરિંગ કર્યા બાદ એક લાંબા સમય બાદ 2016માં GTUમાંથી મેનેજમેન્ટમાં PhD કર્યું અને GTUમાંથી PhDના પ્રથમ વિદ્યાર્થી હોવાનું ગૌરવ પણ પ્રાપ્ત કર્યું. ડોક્ટર PA જોશીનું સ્વાગત કરશે ડોક્ટર સાવન ગોળિયાવાલા. डॉक्टर SS पंचोलीનું સ્વાગત કરશે શ્રી રમેશભાઈ પટેલ. At this juncture, we would like to acknowledge the unconditional support to GCA from Shri Keyur Bhai Shah of Bleach Chem Group since many years now. અમને દરેક પ્રકારનું પીઠબળ હર હંમેશ પૂરું પાડતા શ્રી કેયુરભાઈના કાર્યને બિરદાવવા આજના મુખ્ય અતિથિ શ્રી પંકજ જોશીને નમ્ર વિનંતી કરીએ છીએ કે આપ તેમની સેવાઓને બિરદાવશો. ડોક્ટર વસા કેયુરભાઈને પુષ્પ આપશે.
कराइए सर स्टेज
કેયુરભાઈને પુષ્પો આપશે ડોક્ટર વસા અને શ્રી પંકજ જોશીને विनम्रता विवेकपूर्ण विनंती की आप त्यांनी स्मृतीचिन्ह बिरदावशे. We now invite Dr. Savan Guriawala for his address.
Thank you, Untitled. I'm moving around on the stage to save every second, maybe if not every minute. Right? Joshi sir is in a hurry, and we are so thankful to him that he is here in spite of his busy schedule and multiple responsibilities that he is handling. So certainly something very important, and I have a very short address, and certainly we are more keen to hear the chief guest and guest of honor along with the panelists. I'm just going to give a flavor of the theme of today's conference. Jaimin Bhai, of course, 1947, there is something to believe that the Chemical Association going on for such ages, and within which Jaimin Bhai at the helm of affairs for, maybe again he has forgotten that. So maybe as many years, as 20 years? 22 years, imagine. So certainly something worthwhile happening at the place where the first of the chemical industry and the most of the chemical industries that are in the state of Gujarat. So very happy to be, and for Deloitte also we are the second conclave we are associating. One we did before about 5-6 years as Deloitte as knowledge partners with the Gujarat Chemical Association. And wherein we also did some survey, if I remember, and a concept note. So yeah, the world is changing, and we know that what all differences are coming up in the way of working so far as the chemical industry is concerned. And of course there are buzzwords, more than buzzwords, the basis remains the same, but the way of working changes. It's about doing things differently and not doing different things. That's what is happening in the new world. So sustainability, and this word we will now keep on hearing all the time, and the students, for your benefit, certainly this is something which is going to be very important in the times to come. The future of any industry, within which certainly chemical, because chemical is known to be a little polluting industry also. So this is, and just to give you a flavor, where has India come from? Dr. Jaimin Bhai gave some statistics that we've grown at 11%, and we're poised to grow 9% CAGR over year on year for up to 2025. But the good part of the story is the mix of that growth also. We are doing the specialty chemical is growing the fastest versus the base chemicals or the other chemicals, and that is the good thing, because specialty chemicals is closer to the consumer or closer to the industry. There's a more value add that we are seeing, and that's where the more valuations or where there's a branding which we are seeing, and then so many cases that we will be discussing. I brought my phone to monitor my time, sir. So, but yes, I want to cover as much as I can. So, the specialty chemicals growing at 12% versus otherwise the industry growing at 9% is a good news for all of us, that this India is becoming a very relevant, important player in the chemical industry, and that's where this sustainability is going to be very important for us to continue to be. So that's the theme, and I'm just trying to relate. You guys, especially the practitioners, manufacturers, the industry stalwarts, you have been doing this for ages and only restructuring or re-strategizing. For the students, this is for you to take home, that this is where you will have to be, where the sustainability is seen. The second buzzword is productivity. That's how I'm going to spend 2 to 3 minutes on each of this sustainability and productivity and what is coming up, what is happening, what is the future. And third thing today is the newspaper, the big $300 billion Evergrande is getting into difficulty. Now it has an impact, I can call it an Evergrande effect, where the global specialty material and chemical industries are also getting a hit. Imagine one second largest real estate company in China getting into default has an impact of Tata Steel going down 15% in valuation in only 5 days. Tata Chemicals going down 5% in the 5 days. So that's the impact. You can understand what's the impact. For China, it is easy to devalue the currency by a bit and push up the export, which was otherwise to be consumed in the industry local, and then create a pressure on the global industry. So the third point on sustainability, productivity, I would say, is the global risk or de-risking the scenario which could have the global impact also. And this doesn't apply to just the large ones. This applies to every industry, because the large and ancillary and MSME, everybody is a connected industry, one supplying to other, supplying to other, and that industry has the... So how do we ensure and understand what is happening in the world? Sustainability, no choice about it. I would go to the extent that sustainability is not about just sustaining a business of making chemicals which is eco-friendly. It is about even looking at your shareholder tomorrow. Your son is going to come and tell you that, sorry dad, I am not going to keep invested in your company if you are not eco-friendly. And do not forget the global distant investor. So that's going to be, the regulator is certainly going to be after you if you do not, if you make the hazardous, dangerous products which or the ingredients that you use which are not sustainable. So this sustainably and as the parlance globally, of course, there the reports to be given. India will come to the term soon. ESG, the environment, social and governance. In fact, if we do not ensure that at the smallest or base level up to the large companies, we do not have the ESG in the mind as a management, certainly there's going to be a big problem for us to sustain in the business, if not in the near future, in the future, and this future is going to come sooner, because that's the not negotiable situation coming further. We see the CO2 emissions, maybe I'll give some case studies if I remember. That CO2 is 76% of the global greenhouse gases. Within CO2, the chemical industry and the other industries give only 21% of emission in the sector. Now, if this is not done, then the industry would have problems. Regulator and the companies which are not behaving, or I may use the word misbehaving, by not adhering to the standard, will have to go out of business. This is as simple as that. You're big or small does not matter. And I'll give you the aviation fuel. The transportation sector contributes to the huge amount of emission, is as good as the industries, within which aviation fuel contributes 3% of the global emission. Now, if look at the Shell is trying to come up with a product by decarbonizing aviation fuel. So everybody would have their role to play so far as the greenhouse gases are reduced. Or even we look at the water. The water scarcity, 1/3 of the world is already in a difficulty so far as the clean drinking of water is concerned. They don't have access 1 month in a year. 1 month is not a small period to get access to the clean drinking water in 1/3 of the world, and which will only increase to 50% if the same scenario continues. So the basic mandate to every industry would be, how much water do you use in your industry, how much can you reduce? And that mandate should go into the evaluation, appraisal, HR, management, and even rewards that you give, including the CEO package that is determined by the company. It's going to be absolutely important in terms of sustainability is concerned. Renewable energy, certainly. So what the global guys are doing, they put it into the code of conduct and take a pledge that how do they ensure the sustainability portion. And that's something which is going to be very important for all of us to do. And code of conduct is no big jargon. Code of conduct is what you have been doing with the way the philosophy of the business is. Why don't you document that and ensure that on the SG part also, ESG, the social, the worker safety is going to be the next thing. The people will just not come to you. The right talent is not going to come to you if you are not adhering to the safety standards. And governance is about transparency. So that transparency, if we do not have, that's going to be a major issue for actually caring for the business. And the productivity, which is of course everybody all the time talks about. Productivity is in the new world connectivity. Connected compute, connected machines, connected manpower, connected material, connected markets. If you can connect this, then you have a real-time info of what is happening in the region. The system putting into it is about how you can monitor, control, make machines talk to each other wherever required, automate. And these are of course a distant dream for most of the companies. In chemical companies that I have seen and I have been discussing with a few of them, I can see the chemical companies, a basic thing like a liquid material, whether it is a raw material or a finished product, know exactly what is the quantity, what is the quality, whether it is in process, whether it is a raw material, and this will help you ensure that on real-time basis what the costing is coming up and how you can make sure that you are in the market very relevant that can be. So the next thing, now it is time for the smallest of the small players. I will not talk about Manish Bhai or Natu Bhai, the smallest of the smaller to be connected with your customer. It's not something the rocket science that now which it was before 10 years. But when you know exactly what your customer, when is the automobile industry runs on just in time basis, the chemical industry, why should it not work on a JIT basis just in time, so that the working capital of the customer as well as the vendor is very welcome, because you exactly know what are the ordering levels and what are the supply the stock levels of your customer. And these are smaller things but implementable very well, very easily also. That's another concept of vendor managed inventory. Vendor managed inventory, and I'm cognizant of time, I have still 2.5 minutes. And vendor managed inventory is such a wonderful concept that the vendor puts his inventory at the customer, and as when it is moved, it becomes an inventory. So, of course, several examples. I would not want to get into examples, but global scenario, we have seen huge Dow Chemical bonds mergers, or the Chinas and Syngentas of the world. And the purpose is not about acquiring technology over there. The purpose is actually integration. To go to deeper markets, deeper positioning, deeper distribution, and then higher larger product. In Indian markets, the scenario is different. What Indian companies would essentially want is technology, markets, and branding. Now, if you can tie up joint venture, Manish Bhai has been an example. When he acquired Diastar, I was saying one is an entrepreneurial part about it, but then there is a technology which is India. In Gujarat, so many companies. Astral acquired Silit in UK for technology, and Resineva in Kanpur for product, and this as a new diversification. Atul has done acquisition of a Delhi company, Polygrip. Atul has done a joint venture for chemical textile. Now there is a de-risking, that is that Evergrande effect to reduce and de-risk. You will have to get into this kind of tie-ups, either JVs, acquisition, and do away with your non-core business. Any business which is not scalable should be done away with gradually. So that's going to be a very important part of and so my point is, in the times to come, technology, both in terms of what product you do and recipes or the formulations, and technology in terms of connectivity with the market, and as I said, 4Ms, machine, market, manpower. Manpower should be connected, machines talking to each other, going to be very important without taking the eye off the sustainability part of it. Not negotiable. The environment will have to be at the center of every single decision making. We have just researched. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We will take for the panel, but we are making little changes. Wants to add some commitment, so we will have the book launch and the third speech first, Joshi sir, and then that's what everybody wants. And then have the panel discussion to take it further to Natu Bhai's final address. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for hearing me, and happy to take questions, of course, with the panel, which I would also be moderating. So it will then over to you for the book launch.
Hina.
Sorry, Hina. I have been making mistake.
Thank you. It's now time to release Dr. Jamin Basa's book titled A New Decade Ahead of Chemical Industries in India. We request the author of the book, Dr. Basa, to present the release copy to Sri Joshi ji and other dignitaries on the dais, and invite Sri Pankaj Joshi ji to release the book.
Yes, sir.
This book illustrates in detail what are the opportunities ahead with the Gujarat Chemical Association Industries. The book has been published by the Gujarat Chemical Association, and it also illustrates in detail the glorious past of chemical industry in Gujarat, India, and the present scenario and issues of chemical industries. Our chief guest needs no introduction.
Making change in the program, Dr. Jamin. Very sorry. Good afternoon to all dignitaries on the dais and fellow participants of the dais, and a very warm welcome to all of you. First and foremost, I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Jamin Vasa, President of Gujarat Chemical Association, for inviting me in today's function. I begin by congratulating Dr. Jamin Vasa for organizing this seminar and for the launch of his book, A New Decade Ahead of Chemical Industries in India. Many congratulations, Dr. Friends, today I will be more Gujarat specific, since my experience is basically limited to working in Gujarat. So instead of talking more on national level, I will be speaking more at Gujarat level. I remember the day when Dr. Jamin Vyas, he came to my office to extend an invite for today's event. And he presented me a couple of his earlier publications, his earlier books, and I've always seen Dr. Jamin Vyas to be an extremely emotional and extremely passionate person, and he presented me a good number of books also. And through those publications, I started to look into the facts and figures, especially of this chemical sector. Friends, as you all know, that I am at helm of a major basic chemical industry of the state, of the country, that is GNFC. Some of the facts I came across are big surprise even for me. For example, the three amongst top 5 organic chemicals being imported in India are actually GNFC products. I do not know whether it is a matter of pride or a matter of distress. Pride for substituting imports and distress because we could not enhance our capabilities of our products in spite of having enormous potential in the state. I am talking, and these 3 products which I am talking about are methanol, acetic acid and aniline. When I look into the growth story of my company GNFC, as you all know, like GNFC was incorporated in 1976. And it was basically set up as a fertilizer company to produce urea. And it was a strategic decision during that time. And in late 80s, we started producing some chemicals. Formic acid and methanol were first chemicals produced by GNFC, and later we'll extend it to other chemicals also. The company continued to be called a fertilizer Gujarat Narmada Valley Fertilizer Company till as late as 2012. It was only in 2012 that the word chemical was added in GNFC. It was now, still last decade basically, in like nutshell, if you see our GNFC's top line, 2/3 was fertilizer and 1/3 was chemical. And our bottom line, it was reverse, like 2/3 from chemical and 1/3 from fertilizers. Now, recently now, that has also changed now. It is, our top line is almost 1/3 is only fertilizer. Now, slowly we have also moved more into the chemical space, and it's 2/3 top line is from chemical products. And now our bottom line is majority it's only chemical. So, another interesting fact is that as per the data of Department of Chemical and Petrochemicals, production of some of the basic chemicals, I have some other figure basically, someone shared with me that the growth rate is as high as 9%, but as per my basic, I've shared the source also with you. Some of the basic chemicals have grown at a CAGR of only 3.4% over a period of last 8 years, whereas the demand in the country has grown at the rate of 5.5% in these chemicals. That means we are still unable to cope with the demand growth. The trade deficit of chemical sector is at mind-blowing level, which is around 85,000 crore in 2019 and 20. Now talking about the Indian chemical sector as a whole, India, the good news is that we produce almost 8,000 different chemicals. The market size of this sector in India is around $178 billion, and we expect to grow to $300 billion by 2025. And we are fifth largest in the country, as Dr. Jamil Wasa mentioned. China is quite ahead of us, US is ahead of us, Germany is ahead of us, even countries like Japan is also ahead of us. Chemical industry contributes 7%, and the best part is that it gives employment to almost 50 lakh persons in the country. And Gujarat contributes around 31% of India's total, basically, that is around $55 billion. We are followed by Maharashtra from 31%, Maharashtra is around 16%, just half of what we are doing. Then Tamil Nadu is 7%. So Gujarat's leading position with remarkable margin is due to, I believe that it's definitely due to extensive government support, conducive industrial atmosphere, well-planned infrastructure, skilled manpower, strategic location, availability of raw materials, and many other advantages. Catalyzed by these, I believe that the inherent entrepreneurship spirit of the people of Gujarat is a prime factor. And this spirit will not stop Gujarat in becoming a global chemical hub in the near future. Gujarat accounts for around 62% of India's petrochemical production, 35% of chemical production, 30% of pharmaceutical production, 65% of India's plastic industry, 80% of India's salt processing. Gujarat's chemical and petrochemical industry comprises of 500 large and medium-scale industrial units. Srinath from Megmani Organic is also part of this deliberation, and about 16,000 small-scale units and provides employment to 16% people. Friends, I would like to now talk about some of the specific efforts which have been made by Government of Gujarat. Gujarat PCPIR is well known worldwide. It is the only active special investment region of the state which has been set up under the Gujarat SIR Act of 2009. And I'd like to share that there are 4 PCPIRs across the country. Other than one we have in Dahej in Gujarat, we also have one in Paradip, Odisha. We have one in Vizag, Kakinada in Andhra Pradesh, and Udalpur, Nakapattinam in Tamil Nadu. Among these 4 PCPIRs, Gujarat PCPIR is the first operational PCPIR which covers an area of around 450 square kilometers in Vagra and Bharuch talukas of Bharuch district. And I am very happy to share that the investment made and committed in manufacturing sector in Gujarat PCPR is to the tune of almost more than 1 lakh crores. Opal, that is ONGC Petro Additions Limited, which is a joint venture company, is the anchor tenant in Gujarat PCPR. The total investment made by ONGC Petro Additions Limited is around 27,000 crore. And government through GIDC has allotted land to more than 1,500 industries in Gujarat PCPIR. Nearly 17,000 crore has already been spent on infrastructure development in the areas of port, rail, road and internal infrastructure development such as water supply, power supply, etc. Other than Gujarat PCPR, we have few other major chemical estates in Gujarat. As we all know, like Gujarat and Vapi have major chemical industries which are part of GIDC. They are also equipped with good infrastructure, state-of-the-art facilities, quality water supply, adequate power supply, etc. Ankleshwar, which includes Ankleshwar, Jhagadia and Panoli estates, have more than 1500 units of chemical industries. Vapi, which includes Vapi and Sarigam, have about 650 units of chemical industries. So these efforts have helped Gujarat become a national chemical hub. Now if we are talking about the next decade, the future of chemical industries in India, so Gujarat cannot satisfy becoming only a national hub. We have to move forward. And how can Gujarat become a global chemical hub? What should be the thrust areas? The thrust areas are the 3 I's. These are investment, innovation, and infrastructure. These are going to be the major thrust areas. Friends, the current per capita consumption of chemical products in India is 1/10 of the world average, indicating that the domestic demand potential is yet to be realized. The untapped potential of Gujarat and India can drive us through the road of becoming a global chemical hub. There is a huge potential to be tapped. If I go back to GNFC and GNFC's product, GNFC's annual production of methanol is around 4 lakh metric ton. Our total methanol production in the country as a whole is around 4 lakh metric ton against the demand of 22 lakh metric ton. That is, we are producing only 18% of our total consumption. Similarly, acetic acid, we are producing only 15% of the total domestic production. Annually, we are producing only 33% of the total national consumption. Similarly, formic acid, the national production is around 25,000 metric ton against a demand of 42,000 metric ton. Ammonium nitrate, we are producing around 7 lakh metric ton against the demand of 10 lakh metric ton. Apart from GNFC products, there is a huge huge gap in demand versus production for key basic chemicals like VAM, which is vinyl acetate monomer, styrene, phenol, toluene, MDI, polyols, etc. I am extremely surprised to know that there is no plant for the production of vinyl acetate monomer in the country, and also stearine, which have consumptions in lakhs of metric tons. So potential is there, intention is there. When there is a will, there is a way. So there is a road which will take us to become a global hub. I understand that there are some stumbling blocks, like availability of basic inputs, price of oil and gas, technology, lack of extensive R&D, which Dr. Jamil was also mentioned, limitation of world-class infrastructure. But I strongly believe that these stumbling blocks can be removed with cohesive efforts, and massive work is being carried out at government level, at industry level, at institutional level, by organizations like Gujarat Chemical Associations, and also at individual level. I am also happy to share some of the other initiatives of Government of Gujarat. We are in the process of setting up a bulk drug park in Jambusar Taluka of Bharuch. Friends, as you are aware, recently we have also come out with a new Gujarat industrial policy. And in the Gujarat industrial policy, chemical sector has been identified as a thrust sector, as a core sector in this policy. And some of the incentives which have been provided for the chemical sector in the Gujarat industrial policy, for the large industries, there is a provision for capital subsidy of up to 12% of the fixed capital investment for setting up of manufacturing operations in the state. And the new industries will continue to get exemptions from electricity duty for 5 years. Similarly, we have tried to incentivize MSME sector also. There is a provision for chemical subsidy of up to 25% to all MSMEs, and there is a provision for interest subsidy of up to 7% of the interest levied on the term loan. There is 1% additional interest subsidy to SC/ST entrepreneur, physically challenged entrepreneur, and even for women entrepreneurs and for startups in manufacturing sectors. Besides this, there is 1% additional interest subsidies to young entrepreneurs below the age of 35 years on the date of sanction of loan. So Government of India is providing these incentives under the Gujarat industrial policy. I take this opportunity and I request industry to come forward and take advantage of the incentives being announced under the Gujarat industrial policy. Friends, once again I'd like to congratulate all of you for contributing to the development of our state and the nation. I'm sure the day is not far away for Gujarat to become a global chemical hub. As a part of state government, I assure you all continued support to the industry. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Jai Garvi Gujarat.
Thank you, sir, for that very in-depth, interesting and exhaustive address. Shri Joshi,
Friends, our chief guest doesn't want to be with us for any more. But it is not in that way. He has a lot of engagements and he requested us. But let me tell you, the show is on. And अभी तो ये trailer है, picture अभी बाकी है मेरे दोस्त. So we have a lot of, basically for the youngsters and budding entrepreneurs, the main speaker is none other than Natuvai. He will motivate us, and we have a giant panelist who will give us a lot of knowledge about our own industry. So be with us and we will give us again, because on the Pankaj I am telling, because Pankaj sir is not there. So I sincerely thank you, Pankaj, and to be with us. And once again, I would like all of you to give big ऊपर आओ प्लीज एक मिनट हमारा बाबा शाह नजी ये आ जाओ नजीक क्या प्लीज
यहाँ से प्रस्थान करें, अपना स्थान बनाए रखेंगे। Dr. Vasa too needs no introduction, but for the benefit of those dear students who are here, I would like to say a few words to introduce Dr. Vasa before we proceed with the panel discussion. Dr. Jaimin Vasa, President, Gujarat Chemical Association, has served as a very dynamic president of Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industry from 2018-19, President Gujarat Chemical Association since 1999 now, and President Gujarat Pharmaceutical Association since 2000. He also holds presidential posts for many other associations. He has authored organizations such as Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India, Gandhinagar, National Forensic Sciences University, Gandhinagar, and also the Gujarat University Student Startup and Innovation Policy SSIP, Government of Gujarat, GUSEC, Gujarat University, and Pandit Deen Dayal Energy University, to name a few important, also Ganpati University. He is also on the board of research institutions and government organizations such as the Knowledge Consortium of Gujarat, Department of Education, Government of Gujarat, Institute of Disaster Management, Government of Gujarat, and as part of CSR activities, he has started Dr. Jaimeen Vasa AMA MSME Development Center at Ahmedabad Management Association, and also Dr. Jaimeen Vasa MSME Chair at Gujarat University. He has presented and published, very interesting for the academia present here today, more than 120 papers and articles, and has till date delivered approximately 700 talks and lectures. We are indeed honored to have Dr. Vasa at the helm of Gujarat Chemical Association. We visiting faculty in the Institute of Management Ahmedabad and Vice President AMA, armed with 30 years of experience in providing service in the areas of mergers and acquisitions, private equity, debt syndication, restructuring, business valuation and financial due diligence. Savan has extensive experience in serving large national and multinational clients across several industries. A PhD in management, a chartered accountant, he holds bachelor's degrees in law and commerce and a qualified insolvency professional. A visiting faculty at Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. Since last 30 years, Dr. Savan is regularly invited as speaker for various public conferences and regularly contributes articles in professional and industry journals. He has also co-authored a book on business taxation published by McGraw-Hill. Dr. Savan is an angel investor and a mentor to many startups. He has also been on board and committees of several professional industries and social associations. We now invite Dr. Savan to moderate the panel discussion, who better than him. પરંતુ તે પહેલા ડોક્ટર જયમીન વસાને વિનંતી કરીએ છીએ કે તેઓ ડોક્ટર સાવનનું અભિવાદન કરે એક સ્મૃતિ ચિહ્નથી જે આપની બહુમૂલ્ય સેવાઓ માટેનું અમારું પ્રતિકાત્મક ઋણ સ્વીકાર છે. શ્રી નટુભાઈના વરદ હસ્તે સોના સુગંધ ભળે છે.
Can I use that mobile mic? Everybody would.
Yeah.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I'll not make a mistake now. And thanks so many of you to be attending. So this is a very interesting session, and then we were discussing with Dr. Vasa and us that how we bring the perspective. There are two industrialists, and Manish Bhai mentioned that he has done several entrepreneurial and kind of case studies kind of thing, and a very, very successful entrepreneur. And here is my friend Anil Bhai, who is a researcher, I would say, as I have known him, not very closely though from the industry, but as a friend, and done something worthwhile in the innovation. So the theme of the thing, and what can be better than getting a perspective from two academicians, Panchwali sir and Joshi sir, that we have coming from the universities and who are promoting and who are very close to the industries. So maybe we want to do is, we want to hear them from the theme of what we want is the R&D, a role of R&D and innovation in chemical and allied industries. So that's what we do. Then we will invite some questions that you have, or maybe we can take the deliberations from questions which we can create out of what they have given us the perspective. So maybe can we start with Anil Bhai, you to give your perspective on the role of R&D in the industry and what you have been doing. And as you're comfortable, that microphone or this one, as you want to use.
Thank you, Savan Bhai. I don't think so. We have a time constraint now of 5 minutes. We can go 6-7 minutes.
No. So what I want to do is I want to break this. You may have 6-7 minutes, but maybe restrict yourself to 5 first. And then when we have the question answer, you can add on to a little bit more, so that it doesn't become a monologue also. Then people enjoy this. That's what I would.
Sure. I'll try to make it as relatable as possible. Enough numbers have been said. I don't have any numbers to throw. We all know that the specialty fine chemicals and overall chemical industry is doing very well. There's no wonder the stock market appreciates the chemical industry and it's running at the highest speed. So everybody is expecting a very good future about the chemical industry. My theme has been to R&D perspective from the small medium enterprises. So I'll restrict myself to the small medium enterprises, and Manish Bhai will take it on the medium and the large scale. So just to start up, if people are in the industry, where do we get source of technology? What is the current source of technology? So I have just written down on what I thought is today an MSME starts, what is the source of technology? Very basic, from local suppliers of plant and machinery. They provide technology because most of it is copy-paste. Me too, if somebody is doing it, I also do it. So this is a common source of technology. Poaching person from the competition, we are an open book kind of a source data, and everybody knows exim data. People do reverse engineering of products, which is relatively easy. You know the customer, you know the product, you know the cost. People do it that way. Moving on, people do take contract manufacturing from MNCs. So subcontracting for MNCs, they get technology, and that's how you start up a plant. People move forward and they have foreign collaborations. That's one way of getting technology. And in very, very few companies who reach certain size, they have in-house process and product development. And one source which we think we have a huge potential and we are missing out to have a platform is the universities and the academia. I think they are a great source of engineers, but somehow we are not in a position to find a platform where the MSME and the academia comes on a common platform. So one of this is a barrier, I would say, is the student and industry and the academia barrier. I have a suggestion with all the stalwarts are here from the industry and from the university. Generally, MSME is shy away because it's driven by one-man army, entrepreneurial people. So they do not really have access to what's going on the technology side in the university. So I have a suggestion that if the university, if professors from the university and students along with the students approach the industry or come to the industry for 4 weeks, 6 weeks as an industrial training program as a sabbatical and understand what the MSME needs are. It is very easy to do research in full-fledged developed laboratories, in CSI laboratories which are very, very well developed and everything is available in the same lab. But to come to a small industry and understand their needs and limitations that's where the real transfer of technology can happen, where the people who are developing processes understands the shortcomings and the limitations of the small medium enterprises, and also in terms of process improvements. So that was one suggestion. Similarly, there would be, Ganpati University people are here, similarly there should be programs for entrepreneurs or people, engineers who have done, or chemists who have done startup of factories, but after 10 years the engineering is evaporated, the chemistry is evaporated. So a refreshing program, like in management we have this, we have so much of continuing education programs. So similarly 1 week or 2 days, some kind of a program is developed for entrepreneurs, for chemists or engineers who have done 10 years or 15 years, and apprise them about what's happening in technology nowadays. So that is one suggestion I have to make. Also, we as industry association, we are not shying away. As industry association, we also have a responsibility to call expert speakers, apprise the industry and all our fellow MSME or entrepreneurs to meet the expert and make them understand where the world is going. So that is a responsibility of our associations as well. So one more, I'm just talking a little practical things because I have been doing some kind of research in terms of process development.
You go ahead, we have answers.
Yeah, okay, good. When I started in 1989-90, we used to go to Atira for doing cash services and chemical abstract services. Now things have changed. Conventional libraries have come completely out of obsolete and out of relevant, and it's lost its relevance. So people have come with sci-finders and reaxes and all those things. So I think if the academic or the universities or the technical universities could subsidize, and use the word subsidize, or share the database with MSMEs. Because as an MSME, I cannot afford to buy a software of 15 lakh rupees. But if a model is created where people can, like the earlier people used to go to Atira, get a card and go and do some research. But now things are much easier. If universities have this access, if it could be shared on per use basis, I think that will be a great, at par, bringing at par with large companies, small companies and multinationals, at least the knowledge will be at the same level. So that is one suggestion I would want to make to the academia. And last to the academia would be that, geographically, like today, IICT is a great campus, a lot of research, but how many companies does IICT comes to Ahmedabad? So there has to be a kind of a cluster approach where the university is very close to where the industry is. So, the professors or academia can come to the university, come to the industry, understand their problems, and go back and forth in the same couple of hours or 1 hour distance. So geographically, if you are well connected, I think that will be a big boost to the industry. I'll just give an example of how Manish Rochester was. Everything whatever research was done at Rochester was Kodak. So anything going positive, negative in Kodak, all those projects were brought to Rochester. And similarly, the students also were absorbed by Kodak. I was very happy to hear that Ganpati University is trying to do with Suzuki. I think that's a great achievement, and I think if the same model can be put in the chemical units. Okay. Of course, any R&D is driven by the senior management, division senior management. You have many examples like Make Money Organics. Many companies who have really become big, they all started small scale. So we can't lose hope. We all have a lot of potential to grow. The only areas which we need to do is you have to pick products, niche products, pick products and processes which we think we are having core competency. As a MSME, we are picking up batch industry. Along with products, my suggestion would be to focus on processes. If you see in many areas, like if you see auto industry, somebody is doing only dedicated to those products. So some similar kind of a cluster approach, if we can do, if somebody is expert in hydrogenation, they only do hydrogenation, somebody is doing only distillation, somebody is only doing Grignard reactions. So if these kind of approach, a hub and spoke model is worked out in our small medium enterprises, that could be a big booster for all of us. So as everybody is saying that now the zamana of competition is over. It is co-petition. Like we have to work together, and if we can work together, and there are lots of opportunities for specialty in fine chemicals. We just have to find the right products which suit us. And for all my fellow students, from R&D perspective, I think just keep it simple, follow stoichiometry. If you do material balance, great. I think we have done it. You are solving 3 problems. If you just try hitting on a 90% or a 95% stoichiometric material balance, you reduce the pollution load at source, you are compliant with environment norms, and you are competitive in the world. You are world class if you can hit a 95% plus stoichiometry. So just keeping it simple. If you want, engineers want a very fancy word, then you can go for flow chemistry, continuous fluid reactors. They are all upcoming technologies which are very knowledge intensive, less capital intensive. So those are some areas in engineering to work on. And finally, Natubhai, now I can say, Aram se, even the government needs to understand the importance of R&D. That's one of the external barriers we have. I'll tell you my example. When I went for an environment clearance, so if I put a 5-ton research and development product, I said, why do you need 5 tons? I'll give you 500 kilos. So this is the approach even of the industry, of the government. That why do you need to do 5 tons of R&D products? I'll give you 500. So that approach has to be changed at the government level. Similarly for contract manufacturing, contract research, people who are issuing clearances, they don't understand the contract manufacturing concept or a contract research concept. So that also needs to be educated, has to be informed to the government. And lastly, I think in many countries, the cluster approaches work beautifully. Companies developed and underdeveloped both have done very successful cluster approach, like Japan, Italy, Germany, Taiwan. Taiwan has more than 90% small medium enterprises. They've done fantastic work on collaborative R&D. So I think if properly organized and managed, it can provide a very strong foundation for sustainable MSME growth and in the chemical industry. And lastly, my last suggestion was to do, if several interdisciplinary technology in which MSMEs network are encouraged by the government with appropriate incentives, bringing in cleaner technology and green chemistry, clear process operations, energy conservation, finding renewable source options, and hoping to international EHS suggestions. So we'll be able to resolve a lot of problems if some interdisciplinary, like NCPC could be brought along with the university. So we could be able to solve technology issues as well as environmental issues. I think I rest my case now.
Thanks, very valuable. Some 7, 8, 9 suggestions, and out of which the last 5 was last only. So, so I like the time management. Nobody will take away the mic if every time I say that's the last point. But yes, very valuable, and I would say we will certainly deliberate on them also, so we can extract more either from the academicians as well as. Maybe Joshi sir, would you like to go next on your thoughts on the role of R&D and innovation in the industry?
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Sawan. I would like to at the outset thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to interact with my co-panelists, at the same time the participants and delegates. I am from academics, so obviously I would like to defend the academics. That is what you may think. However, let me tell you, after spending 5 decades in academics, and that too in premier institute like ICT, IIT, and the local institute like say DDIT or Dhammasajasa University, Nirma University and Government Engineering College, I realized that the focus is missing as far as R&D is concerned. The need from the industry should be communicated to the academia. This is not happening. What industry wants is, they want that the academics should come to industry. Unfortunately, that is much difficult because the role of academics is to teach these students, whether they are at undergraduate level, graduate level or doctorate level. So that is where the difference lies, in the expectations. Each one has their own expectation and fulfilling these expectations is almost difficult. Let me tell you that when the research topics are being selected for a PhD student, whether it is a fundamental related topic or applied related topic. Way back in the 80s, when I joined IIT Bombay for my PhD, I was given a topic which was pertaining to the applied research, carbon capture, which was something totally unknown in 80s. Later on, no doubt, this after 2-3 decades, it came up in a big way. But the vision of the faculty is something which is very important, and I believe that the focus should be on applied research as far as we Indians are concerned or Indian universities are concerned, because we should try to fulfill the dream of bringing up the chemical industry to a particular level, or bringing up the commitment which is there for Atmanirbhar India. To fulfill that dream, we must focus on the applied research. So when it comes to the applied research, sustainability has to be the most important, as Dr. Sawant had mentioned. And I'm happy to share with you that there is one university in Gujarat which has come up very recently. It is UPL, University of Sustainable Technologies. Probably you may not have, majority of you may not have heard about it. But it's something which is very unique. And I really am happy that I am in Gujarat, because Gujarat is coming up with these innovative ideas of different kind of universities. Now, let me tell you that sustainability means what? What do we need to focus at when we carry out research? And who is going to carry out the research? The researcher, that is those who are pursuing either MTech or PhD. MTech programs are that of 2 years, where 1 year is dedicated for research. I tell you that it is not sufficient enough time to do any significant research for an individual. If there is a team, it's a different story. I started my career as a research engineer in Standard Oil, a Motilal Group company way back in 1977. And I had seen that what kind of problems were being given to the research engineer. Unfortunate part of the current scenario is, in academics, promotion is the most important criteria. Dr. Panchodi will be able to understand it very easily. See, assistant professor is getting around 60,000, but associate professor, the next stage, he will be getting around 1.4 lakhs. So it is more than double the salary. And to go to that stage, what is required is promotion. And PhD for promotion, patent for promotion, publication or paper for promotion. So the focus is not research, not the applied research, but it is basically promotion. Who else is taking up the research project? See, the others, there has to be student for pursuing research. I have seen, if you see the current scenario, the admissions are going on, and you will be surprised to know that the students who are proceeding for the PG program, they are the one, majority, I am not telling that all of them, majority of them, they are the one who doesn't get a reasonably good job. If they get a good job, reasonably good job, they are not willing to pursue PG. Because why to spend 2 years? There are others who are capable enough to carry out really good research, who are having bright academic career. They think of going abroad or at least clear gate and go to IITs. Okay? But obviously the preference for the local universities is lost. So getting good research scholar is a big problem. Adil bhai, let me tell you, we are having one Center for Surface Science and Nanotechnology in Dharmshala University. It was established by one Professor D.O. Shah, who spent 40 years in the University of Florida. He had commitment, he wanted to pay back to the nation, and he thought that if he spends, say, 6 months every year for 5 years, the center will come. And the center was supposed to provide technical consultancy to the small and medium scale industry. It came up with the finance not from education, from the Department of Industries and Mines. Dr. Vasar may be knowing. That time Gauri Kumar was there, and then Dr. Raj Gopalan was there. They supported us. Unfortunately, the industries, they were looking for shortcuts. And I'm not telling that all industries are like that. But if majority of the researchers are like what I mentioned, and if majority of industries, they are looking for shortcuts, it's difficult to have really a strong interaction. So I think that what is required is change in the mindset. That is the most important thing to know. There is no doubt that the role of R&D is very vital. There won't be any debate about it. What is required is change in the mindset of the industries. I've been fortunate because I was associated with GPCG since 1986, and I was in almost all committees that we talk about, including the Environmental Clearance Authority, and that is where I had the opportunity to interact. And I believe, as I was mentioning, what is required is change in mindset, and that will definitely help in fulfilling the requirement of industry, and the academia also will grow when there is funding. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Joshi. Very relevant, of course. And maybe back to back, we can have views from Dr. Pancholi on the academic part of the R&D, and how this one very important thing came up is this industry and academics. Who goes first, who pulls whom. So I think that's very important perspective Dr. Joshi has given, but maybe Dr. Pancholi will have your views for 3, 4, 5 minutes, and then what we can do is we will revisit, we will come back to you for the further discussions. Please, Dr. Pancholi, over here.
Thank you, Sawan bhai. I would like to thank Gujarat Chemical Association for organizing such a nice event where we are face to face with industry. Face to face doesn't mean we are at the opposite end. Education institutes are always supposed to go hand in hand with industry. And first thing which comes when we talk of research, it is the relevance of the research, which is being questioned sometimes, as Dr. Joshi has rightly pointed out. Most of the time, the research in educational institutes is directed for degree. Many times, it may fetch some papers and promotions, as Dr. Joshi has rightly pointed out. Where is the lacuna? The lacuna basically is there is a deficit of trust between the industry. Industry doesn't have confidence that whether a particular professor, particular researcher could understand the problem, could resolve the problem? Should I tell them the problem which I am facing? Whether it would be productive, whether they will maintain the confidentiality, because educational institutes, they can serve many industries, they have potential to do that. Only thing is, we have to come at the terms that we agree and promise and keep our promises that whatever the problem is taken up, it is to be resolved, and we promise the potential results and the confidentiality out of it. Most of the time, we have our own agenda to pursue in research. Industry has their own problems, and when these two things meet, then only a productive research can happen. Coming to the relevance of pharmaceutical industry, see, pharmaceuticals are nothing but the chemicals which are basically relevant to health. They are linked to health of human beings. And therefore they are specialized chemicals, the chemicals which can save a life and sometimes can cause death also. And there comes various kinds of researches which are needed specifically when we talk of specialized chemicals like pharmaceuticals. Here we have to talk not only about the environmental effects, not only about the green and economical ways of doing the chemical synthesis, but also the research is to be directed towards the safety, the impurities that can be there, reducing those impurities, improving the safety. Most of the time, the newer technologies which are being imbibed in the present situation by the larger production houses, they may include artificial intelligence, analysis of big data, proteomics, biogenomics. The innovation may always, most of the time, the researches used to be labor intensive when the computation was to be done in a larger part, experimentation was to be done, and then results were to be analyzed, and it took more time. Nowadays there are simulation softwares available. Something we can do, something is already available which is a large data. From that we can say, we can do docking exercises, we can do protein fitting and response kind of curves can be got even for drug release and drug absorption, etc. So now the industries have to actually support the educational institutes to bring those technologies as a kind of available resources to be used by all the, as rightly said by Anil bhai, that we need to have regional centers of excellence. We are in the process of planning a center of excellence for computational chemistry. We may be providing the sufficient resources we have to do some pilot scale or lab scale trials that all industries, particularly the MSMEs, may not afford. And that may form the part of our research projects, maybe yielding to PhD or MSc or MPharm. But important thing is we need to focus on the relations which agree that you need a research to be done. We accept that we have that capability to do it, right? So it is very necessary as Gujarat Chemical Association has come forward with Ganpat University to sign an MOU where we not only share our data as Dr. Anil has pointed out, but we share all our resources and expertise, and we want to train our teachers to learn more about the problems faced by MSMEs. I had proposed to Vasasa that our teachers, they would go with a group of small number of research students to visit and to audit the plants, and maybe many times it happens that the third person who comes to audit, he can identify the problem. Even the persons who are managing those plants, they may not have an idea that out-of-box thinking is required to improve certain things. They may not have improvement target also, and they may not have the resources to do those improvements. These improvements we can target is the quality, the improvement in yield, reduction in impurities, providing stability to the products, and more importantly, the R&D, particularly in drug discovery process, because it is a very long process, we can support by computational softwares where the total drug discovery process can be reduced to manufacture the right molecules. The regional collaborations, of course, it may be the students which are graduates or postgraduates, as was talked by Joshi sir, that most of the researches are directed towards degree or promotion. I believe, and we at Campus University, we are indulging all our students, whether they are in first year or second year of undergraduation, to get some problem solved. That is the reason we have a tagline, we are a socially responsible university. They should go to the field, they should learn from the industry and society what are the problems they are facing and what solutions can be projected and provided. We study, so those studies can be taken up by undergraduate students, the problems can be taken up by postgraduate students, and higher technologies and solutions can be taken up by PhD students and even postdocs. The projects supported by industries or the facilities supported by industries can certainly be a good starting point. We may have software support which is initially a small scale level. We may give you a docking study of say 3 lakh molecules, but there are softwares available where 30 lakh molecules can be tested at a time. So if you can create a combined facility, maybe a specialty facility for biomolecules at some particular university, another facility for say bulk drug products. So these kind of interventions and interactions can certainly help the research to take the relevant path, and that only will help the nation to grow. So I think these are some of the suggestions. Work to students who are undertaking the research. They should seek those problems which are industry relevant, and also I would like that industry should certainly come up with their problems. Maybe those problems may get resolved, we may move a step ahead, we may not give the best solution, but there may be certain trials done at the institutes which can certainly help industry moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yeah, I think there's a lot to discuss because this industry academics collaboration and how we can have the research, and a very good suggestion, multiple facilities can set up at multiple universities, not that one university has to have all kinds of.
Great scale, we didn't have consumption which can have that kind of a scale of operations in India. But now we are at a stage that our consumption is increasing, we can have a scale, and that economy of scale can compete globally. Coming back to technology, the most crucial part in some of the large ticket chemicals which we have observed, technology is not existing in India. We have to get it from outside. There are several issues that majority of the companies are facing, because if the technology is guarded by several limited players globally, they don't want to share with us, right? And then like acetic acid and several other products. Another phenomena which I have observed in last 5 years, many of the technology providing companies were acquired by Chinese companies. And after acquiring them, they block, and then they don't want to share technology. One of the names which Joshi sir mentioned was MDI, and exactly that is what has happened. So technology has become a crucial point where we will have to get these technologies which we do not have in India. If we try to do a fundamental research from now, there is no way we can catch up. this $50 billion gap may become $50 billion, and still we would not be able to develop technology on our own. So what China did 20 years ago is to adapt and improve. So we have to bring in all these technologies which we don't have now by whatever means, by making some of the companies as partner, inviting them in JVs, giving them stake, paying higher than the reasonable price, what anyone could pay, and bring them here by spending a little more. So the way to have the exponential growth in large-scale chemical sector is to adapt and improve that technology, change it, customize it, make it that can fit Indian culture, Indian requirement, and Indian atmosphere. So that is where our large-scale chemical companies will have to go for the technology. But adapting is also not easy, because you need to have that kind of a technical base to adapt, understand, skill manpower to absorb in India. And I am sure that the way our engineers, our scientists, and our manpower has over the years gained a lot of experience working outside India, definitely help to bring them to India. So that is the most crucial part. As far as the technology related to the large scale industries, I can give you examples of maybe 20 such products one by one, but that is essentially what industry would need to do in future years. And the second important part is the feedstock. And for those products, while we can say that we are not a methanol producing country in India, but the reason we haven't produced is not we didn't know how to make it. GNFC has been there for years. The reason we couldn't do it because we never had cheap ammonia here, right? So there are such reasons where we are still lacking in our competitiveness on availability of feedstock. We never commercialized syngas production in India, which China did, and that allowed them to have much more upper edge, to have syngas and then use it for the feedstock. So these are the challenges that, and government is doing a lot of efforts recently to have such kind of feedstocks available in India that can be helpful. So one is the technology and the second is the feedstock. Combination of both for large scale industry can help to develop those products in India that we are importing today. And that would be towards the Atmanirbhar Bharat if we are all able to make efforts in that direction. Thank you.
I think you hit the nail right, because feedstock and this technology are the two most critical things naturally to be one, relevant, and two, competitive also in the market, and scaling of course naturally, otherwise it will not happen. And chemical industry, most of the strategies, the larger companies are more in the backward and feedstock and the backward integration or the supply chain backward rather than the front in the market. That's what is very critical. So thank you Manish bhai for very important inputs. We can open up if anybody has any questions. Students, you have any question on how or maybe you have any answers, because there are a lot of questions already in the point that how can we have the industry academic collaboration. But any questions are welcome. Otherwise, I have a lot of questions from what I've heard from them maybe, and that I can pose to the guys. So, any questions, please? You can raise your hand. Yes, Shrenik, right? Yeah, please.
Good evening, friends.
Switch on that.
Good evening, friends. Jaimin bhai, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to ask against the two doctors sitting on the desk. first question that we all talk about the things what we are doing it, or we are just thinking that whatever is the traditional way of R&D we should perform. Now I think we should go hatke socho. If we don't think hatke, then we are lost. Because that traditional ways have gone. Like whatever we produce, we use lot of water. Then there is a water pollution. Then there is a energy is costing us so high. And then there is a air pollution. How to address this? You ask the students how to address this. How to reduce the solid waste. Because these all cycles will come. And then only chemical industry will start facing the problem from NGOs, from our own people. So this is what we wanted from your side also. Thank you.
Yeah, was this? Yeah.
You may be knowing about the environmental audit scheme which was introduced by the High Court. And it was because of this, the water pollution in and around the Praveen Bhai Patel case. But what High Court had observed was there has to be audit of each and every resource. The resources are very valuable, whether it is water or any raw material or energy or anything. So the industry doesn't have the right to waste it. Okay, there has to be audit over each and every resource, and that is how the environmental audit came into existence in Gujarat. And there the High Court, as I was telling, that High Court has said that the conservation of resources which are being snatched away from the next generation should be taken care of, and that is where particularly the small scale industry, for them the CETP as well as the auditors who are supposed to guide to reduce the waste generation. That stoichiometric, as Anil Bhai was telling, that stoichiometric requirement has to be taken care of. Thank you. I hope this is satisfied.
I am not talking about whatever has happened or whatever is happening right now. I am talking about the future. The reason being, we don't have enough money to even invest into the vessels, enough land to invest into the land because the prices are going up. We need small things like a pipe reactors, membrane technologies. This should be available to the university, and university should give it to the students. That is what I am asking.
Yeah, I was mentioning about the learning from past. That is what happened in the past. If we learn from that, we can do something positive. That is what I wanted to say. And when the university has to acquire this modern facility, that will be where the fund will come from. Because majority, as I mentioned, that I had the opportunity to be with IIT and university. So the fund goes to such premier institute. The small institute, say whether Ganpati University, Nirma University or Dhananjay Desai University, will get hardly a small amount. Otherwise, the major chunk will be going to the premier institute.
I think we can take a couple of more questions because
Sound
Dr. Pancholi, and then we'll have Anil Bhai also respond to this. Dr. Pancholi, please.
Actually, what I have got for the point from your suggestion basically is we have to educate our students about these kind of things, and practical exercises like audit of different kind of products being manufactured, if we take into consideration in our curricula, that we can do, so that they are aware of kind of the contribution, the water consumed and all, energy consumed for individual kind of products. And when they come to know of these things, they think how it can be reduced. So that kind of effort we will certainly undertake, and many of our courses take care of this. We have environmental preservation kind of studies. So there are some case studies can be certainly undertaken. Thank you.
Yeah, Anil Bhai, yeah. Any other question? Yes, the lady. Yes, please.
Good evening, everyone. Sir, I have 2 points to suggest. Sir, recently we all participated in a program conducted by SSIP, that is Ideathon. And sir, I think these type of programs can be a link between collaboration, a link for collaborating universities and industries. We all research something and we all are presenting something new, something an innovative idea for Pharmacist Day. So these programs can help in collaboration of industries and universities. Industries can grab opportunities through this way. And one more thing is that it shows that one of the point is that since we are lacking out of fossil fuels right now, so petrochemical industry will be in a huge loss when there will be no fossil fuels in earth. So at that time R&D department will play a major role, because we have to find a substitute of that thing, of fossil fuels, because all of things, most of the technologies, most of the machineries and vehicles, automobiles are depending on only fossil fuels only. So at that time we will have to find a substitute which will not only be eco-friendly but also that can last long. Also it can be synthesized by us. So we don't have to depend on earth only. So I think this is the point at which R&D department can grab opportunity and industries can link up to universities. Thank you.
I think, of course, that was more like a comment, right, than a question. And very important, maybe one idea comes to me, that why can we not have a zero fossil month, and all of a sudden all these innovations will start happening and there is no fossil fuel, and then what do you do? So, but before we run out of it, there has to be something in play, right? Which of course there is a lot of things which are happening, so many patents globally filed by so many companies. But here is a debate that, or rather a discussion that without an collaboration that is not possible. Any other question? Can then move on to, yes, one last question. 2 questions. 30 seconds, answer will come within 1 minute. Okay, thanks. 30-second question to for an hour 1 minute answer. बेटा बोली जाओ तब यंग छो इनसे जाओ कहीं आवाज दे आवाज last 20 seconds is not coming here.
Hello, good evening everyone. So sir, my question is that as a student, I am interested into research, but my university or my college does not have that apparatus available. As an industrialist, you may be having some fields of research available, but you don't have the students or the manpower to contribute to it. So I think there should be a collaborative body that floats the industry questions and some research points, and they can ask the students to solve them, and you can incentivize them. So is there anything that can be possible in this?
So when I mentioned in my talk, there has to be an industry and academic relationship going on. For example, we are supplying so many universities do not have raw materials. They want some chemicals. So we freely supply to even IIT. Whoever asks for it, it is our contribution to them. So same thing is equipment. Academia has equipment and industry. That would be a bridge between the two if we sit down together. And therefore, I have said that if the academia, along with the students, come for this training for the practical training program and understand, give them a project, what do they want to do for that project of 15 days or 1 month, that would be very, very useful.
I think, and maybe students may have.
I thank Dr. Jamini Hasa for inviting me to this conference and to this meeting. Okay, I am at present working as associate professor in Pandit Dindayal Energy University, and we have a very long association with this Gujarat Chemical Association. Okay, so it's not my question, just information to this forum.
Your good name, sir. So that
This is Sukant Das. Okay, my name is Sukant Das.
Please go ahead with the question.
So since a lot of things discussed regarding this CO2 emission, global warming and climate change, and what the industry actually should do, CO2 should not be emitted to the atmosphere. It should be separated from the exhaust, industrial exhaust, and it should be reused or it should be stored. So in this direction, we are doing the research. And as the research is just by promotion, so it's not like that. Research is also a passion. I actually associated with some company in UK, I think last 11 years, and we developed this CO2 capture technology. And the first company came in Tutkorin alkali chemicals and fertilizers. So that is the first company. And second company, just last week, it is inaugurated at Tata Steel, Jamshedpur. So that capacity is 5 ton of CO2, separation of TPD, 5 TPD plant. But in our university, we created a central research facility, named as CO2 Research Center. And I had faced some grants from Ministry of Science and Technology, established a CO2 capture power plant, demo plant. So the CO2 capture plant separates CO2 1 ton per day, 1 TPD. So this is our own design, we fabricated, and it is available. So any industry, if they want to see the demo, see the technology, they are most welcome to our campus, and they can see the operation. And we made in such a way that like this, we can take that module to any industry, and we can do the demonstration there also. That is possible. It is a portable device. But of course, there will be no transportation and all the things. But we can very well operate in the campus, in the center itself. So this is just a information because a lot of industry persons are there. So I thought it is appropriate to tell this.
Yeah,
okay, thank you.
Very important for the industry to know that it is already Thank you, Professor. Maybe over to Inagar for the much awaited moment.
Just one sentence response. Gujarat Chemical Association, to bridge the gap with industry and institute, Gujarat Chemical Association has made a signed MOU with Ganpat University, Gujarat University, and Dharamsala Desai University, and PDPO. So that just to see that this gap is reduced, and again, at Dr. Jamie Masa MSME chair at Gujarat University, we are coming up with the research and development activity for small and medium industries for research and for this particular chemical and allied industries. Just my information.
Ladies and gentlemen, our guest of honor this evening, Mr. Natubhai Patel, Managing Director of Make Money Organics Limited, is also the Chairman and Managing Director of Make Money Dyes and Intermediates Limited and Make Money Industries Limited. He holds Masters of Science from Sardar Patel University, Gujarat. Mr. Natubhai Patel has more than 41 years of experience in the dyes and pigments industry and more than 26 years experience in the agrochemicals industry. At present, Natubhai Patel is President of Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Only one day, right? Natubhai is actively serving as Vice President in a social organization named Sardar Dham. We invite you, sir, for your address.
intelligence talks were on, now industry's turn is here. So, thank you very much. Respected dignitaries on dais, friends, students, professors, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity today to share. And till yesterday evening, I was under the impression that I have to speak something about industry. But suddenly I have seen that Jamin Bhai has changed the topic and to speak on successful entrepreneur. Successful entrepreneur in Gujarati blood, so many histories. But recent history I want to give for Gautam Bhai Adani. Started his career as a small trader of plastic scrap, not late, but in 1990, and turned the micro trading activity into the big conglomerate and become number 5 in India, or number 3 or 4 in India in market capitalization. Sheer hard work. I got the first-hand information from him that when he created Mundra port, start the journey from home at 5:30 early morning and reach to Mundra at 10 a.m. in the morning, start meeting with the professional and do 8 hours work. Practically he himself go into the sea by walking and see the possibility that how he can create the port. It was gigantic things, but he executed only by hard work, not by what we can say naseeb thi nahi, but hard work. Similar way, he created the things, he grabbed the opportunity, not only the port, but when he created the right infrastructure, he expanded his fortune in different era. Importing coal, creating powerhouse, electricity generation, then infrastructure on now coming on petrochemical, then coming on different things, renewable energy, and the new project he will convert renewable energy into hydrogen. What I think the lady was talking, renewable things, hydrogen will be the feedstock for the chemical in future. So he has already started thinking on that way. So he is really a big conglomerate and we should take a proud of him. Similar way, from the much younger generation like Manish Bhai Giri, when he was studying in America, I went through his article. He sent to his father I think in 94, 95 or so, and so beautiful written that what are the possibility of the chemical industries and how he can scale up. And he did it. And this is, I think we should really congratulate him that it was, I think I can say, hard work was done by the Gautam Bhai, but the intelligent work was done by Manish Bhai. To have a joint venture with the multinational company without money. Right? I take the opportunity without money. He did it. He executed, Daistar converted the loss-making company into profit-making company. So, and when he was delivering the speech, really because I am here to hear Manish Bhai. Because when I traveled with him 2 times, he's so serious. Whenever he delivered the speech, before that he prepared himself. So he's really passionate about manufacturing activity. And he feels, when we were traveling into Saudi Arabia and we were visiting the SABIC. SABIC is the, I think, multinational company now owned by the Aramco. And all the feedstock they have, you name it, technology of methanol, acetic acid, petrochemical, everything they have. And we were always talking that why not in India? So I think he has delivered the speech that we didn't have the consumption in India on those days. And rightly confirmed that now the consumption is increasing. So we need to have a world-class plant to deliver the product. Say acetic acid, I think more than 80% of our requirement we are importing. PVC, more than 50% of our requirement we are importing. Methanol, again, 90% we are importing. Phenol, more than 60% of our requirement we are importing. So, I think he identified a lot of new areas. And with the professors, academia and university, how we can collaborate together. I think if it happens, it happened already in China, sir. Practically, I think some student was talking about the sponsorship. Industries are always ready to pay the price, but we don't know whom to pay. If we have a research student at our factory and want to work for R&D for our problems, every industry will be happy to pay the price. But it's a faith between university and industry. I think GCC, Gujarat Chemical Association, is bridging the gap. So thank you very much, Jamin Bhai. But when again come to the entrepreneur, so Gautam Bhai, Manish Bhai, those are the like sun and moon. Between we grab the opportunity. Make money, grab the opportunity, getting the information from various multinational companies. How it happens? Make money started its journey manufacturing dyestuffs. We started exporting our product in 90s and meeting the multinational company. When I was visiting BSF or Bayer or Zenica, I was looking at how they can be in dyestuff. They are in pigment, they are in pharmaceutical, they are in agrochemical. So I went to my professor in Sardar Patel University in 1992. He simply said that chemistry is same. Everywhere the chemistry is same. If you want to expand, you can. And make money came into pigments. When we explore the pigment, suddenly we have seen the future in agrochemical. Because many companies were entering into the pharmaceutical company. Vapi, Ankleshwar, Panoli, everybody was full of pharmaceuticals. So we grabbed the opportunity into agrochemical. Field was small, but the manufacturers were also less. So we selected that field. And I think by selecting that field, we got the opportunity to grab the capital from Singapore and Hong Kong, because they were looking that India is a big agriculture country and they need pesticide. So they were ready to give us the capital for our expansion. And I think change is a must. Why Indian chemical industries are not growing? Because they are more focused on unilateral focus. Or they see only X and Y axis. They never see 360-degree view. I don't claim that we go on a 360-degree view, but we try to be. And that's why I will give the example that when we were succeeded in agrochemical, we have seen that a lot of problems to get the basic chemicals. So we entered into the basic chemicals. And when we entered into the basic chemical, I think many friends are here was knowing that we borrowed more than we chewed. And everybody was talking that borrowing 600 crores. And our turnover was not more than 1,000 crores. But you have to do something. We should learn from Gautam Bhai, we should learn from Manish Bhai, we should learn from many people and live Gujarati nature. Gujarati, when they earn 100 rupees, they spend 10 rupees and keep 90 rupees for the future, for their children, for fixed deposit, for land, unproductive things. But we at Make Money, we have seen that future is bright in manufacturing. We explore by fullest way. When we were at the capacity in basic chemical, we have seen that now profitability is going down. So we entered into the specialty chemicals. And as rightly said by Soundbite, that specialty chemical is growing and it is a future. We are already there. Technology is a problem. Manish Bhai has rightly said, technology is a problem. So we went for the new technology with the new raw material. In epichlorohydrin, nobody was manufacturing in India or in Asia from glycerin fruit. We got the technology from France and now we are implementing the plant. So if you are not getting the feedstock, chemistry has a no bar. There are many possibilities. Likewise, say, if you do not have ethylene, you can go for petcoke. If you do not have a petcoke, you can go for syngas. Something like that. So similar way, we at Make Money, we have tried to change the chemistry. Now we are coming with the CPVC. There also, there is no manufacturers of CPVC in India. So technology was a big problem. We tried for more than 5 years. At the end, we succeeded to get the technology. So Make Money is successful because we try to evaluate 360-degree view and get the things done. Similar way, in another things, there are n number of chemistry. Still, India is not able to explore. And I think somebody has talked that, our chief guest has told us that we manufacture more than 8,000 products. But in chemistry, existing product line is more than 150,000 chemicals. And out of those 150,000 chemicals, you can at least explore 80,000 chemicals. So we are at 10%. So there are a lot of possibilities. Consumption is here. India was not consuming. But today, our mid-income group people, families are increasing. And mid-income families numbers are more, consumption will be much more. And rightly targeted by the multinationals, all multinationals are here. They do not want to manufacture, they want to source. And that's why they are going for the contract manufacturing. You can go in any field, polymer additive, construction chemical, pharmaceutical, API, intermediate, but we explore in a very limited field. So my request to my friends to explore the unexplored chemistry, unexplored field. India is importing 50% of our requirement of different chemical we are importing. And with the same chemistry we can do it. Chemistry is more by and large same, sir. And need to have help from university. Joshi Sahab is here, our Panchal Sahab is here. They have talked very nicely. How we can break the gap. This is the need of the day. Otherwise, we can create 10 Gautam Bhai, 100 Manish Bhai in Ahmedabad. Thank you very much. Stay safe, stay healthy. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Soul, from the heart.
In fact, Natuvai, તમે બધા ખોટો પાડે બધાને.
શ્રી રમેશભાઈ પટેલ, મેઘમણી ઓર્ગેનિક્સ લિમિટેડના હાલમાં એક્ઝિક્યુટિવ ડિરેક્ટર છે. તેઓ ગુજરાત ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રીઝના આદ્ય સ્થાપક અને ભાગીદાર હતા, જે હવે મેઘમણી ઓર્ગેનિક્સ લિમિટેડના નામે કેમિકલ ઉદ્યોગમાં વિશ્વવિખ્યાત કંપની તરીકે ગણાય છે. શ્રી રમેશભાઈ પટેલ કેમિકલ ઉદ્યોગમાં ભારત તેમજ વિશ્વના અન્ય દેશોમાં ખરીદી અને આયાતોમાં બહોળો અભ્યાસ ધરાવે છે. એમને આમંત્રિત કરીએ છીએ આભાર પ્રસ્તાવ માટે. આભાર વિધિ બાદ સૌ રાષ્ટ્રગીત ગાઈને કાર્યક્રમનું સમાપન કરીશું.
Good evening all. Thank you for coming to enlightening speech of our chief guest, Sri Pankaj Bhai Joshi, IAS, this year our government of Gujarat. Thank you, Natubhai Patel, our thank you, Sri Anil Jain. Thank you, P.A. Joshi Sahib. Thank you, sir, Pancholi sir. Thank you, Savan Bhai. And thank you, our all audience and students and all professors and all dignitaries. Thank you all.
આ સાથે સન્માન ભેર ઉભા થઈને રાષ્ટ્રગીત ગાઈશું.
એક મિનિટ પકડી રાખને પછી
જનગણ મન અધિનાયક જય હે ભારત ભાગ્ય વિધાતા.
પાછળ આવતા રહે.
પંજાબ સિંધ ગુજરાત મરાઠા દ્રાવિડ ઉત્કલ બંગા વિંજ હિમાચલ યમુના ગંગા ઉચ્છલ જલધિ તરંગા. तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा. जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता. जय हे जय हे जय हे
આપણે માહિતી માટે મળીશું. એવરીબડી ઇઝ રિક્વેસ્ટેડ ટુ જોઈન છે. ત્યાં ઘણું સારું ઇન્ટરેક્શન પણ થશે.